Coach, I think you're on mute.
Thank you. All right. First off, I want to give Missouri a lot of credit for playing so inspired. That Conzo and his staff put together a great defensive game plan. A lot of things they did bothered us. Real Coach Martin gave his team a chance to win by the things that they did and the adjustments that they made and by how hard they played. I thought that Jalen Williams and Jabari Smith's defense on Kobe Brown was very significant. People walk away and say, well, Jabari didn't have a very good offensive night. But we can win when Jabari doesn't have a great offensive night. Missouri can't win when Kobe Brown doesn't have a big offensive night. And so I think the second thing is Devin Cambridge. He played really, really well against Kentucky, and we were better with him on the floor. His defense, his rebounding, very, very impressed. Devin was a guy that took a lot of shots last year and played a lot of minutes. And this year he's kind of behind KD and behind Al, and he's that third guy at the 2 spot and the 3 spot, but he didn't play like it. And then obviously, late in the game, KD's he's a dangerous man, and he's not afraid of the moment. And so whatever it was that we did to try to get him the ball in that wing and let him go make plays, that's what we did.
Our coach, we'll get started with a question from Michael Gittins.
Coach, you get a #1 ranking this week. Earlier this season, you said we're going to get beat at some point, but if we do, it's not because we're resting on our laurels. Can you talk about what a game like this means? Being #1 and getting everybody's best shot night after night. What do you take from this, and what do you guys use to build on?
Yeah, well, Michael, I think it's another example, that you can point to. Our kids, they saw Ole Miss jump out to a big lead at Ole Miss and make shots and play inspired when we went there ranked like 4th. And again, they saw the same thing tonight against Missouri. It's a long year. And I felt going into tonight that we've been grinding so hard that at some point there could be a letdown. And maybe we had a little bit of a letdown tonight because we weren't very sharp offensively. So we'll see. We'll see how we respond. And but a team with a lesser character, would not have been able to come back and win this game.
All right, Justin Hokanson.
Hey, Bruce. Yeah, I was going to ask you, obviously, Jabari shooting-wise struggled, but you look at, he still goes out and gets 10 boards. Devin had 9 offensive rebounds in the second half. I mean, was that the difference? There was a stretch right there in a minute where I think you guys had 4 offensive rebounds between Devin and Jabari, and you just hung in there. Just talk about that effort on the glass.
Yeah, no question. I mean, again, Devin was really good against Kentucky. Didn't put up numbers, but we were better with him on the floor. And because his defense was so solid. And then tonight, he just uses athleticism and they couldn't check him out. Now there are a couple of times he rebounded and put it back up where I would have rather him pull it out and give us another possession. But I mean, look, Jabari had 10 rebounds, Walker had 12 rebounds, Devin had 9 offensive rebounds. We had 20, 5 offensive rebounds. I can't even read it. We had more, we had 25 offensive rebounds. You talk about, guys playing with effort and energy. That's what it's all about.
Justin Ferguson.
Bruce, what was the key to the defense locking down like it did, especially in the second half? They got off to a really good shooting start in the game, but then it cooled off really quickly.
Well, it was, both teams exerted a lot of effort. It was very, very, very physical game. Man, I think one of the most physical games that we played all year. And because of all that physicality, it was just hard for both teams to score.
Brian Matthews.
Yeah, Bruce, do you think there's a little bit of hangover for you guys from the Kentucky win, the #1 ranking, and the quick turnover from Saturday to Tuesday that led to y'all having your worst shooting performance this season?
I think the hangover is it's been it's a long year, and these guys have been having to get up every game, a couple times a week, and it's just I've been impressed by them because it's not easy to do. Look, Missouri's beaten Alabama once, beat them here. They had Texas A&M beat the entire game and lost in the last minute. They beat Ole Miss by 25 at Ole Miss. They're a good team, and they're going to beat a lot of people in here.
Try to get to just a couple more versus Jordan Hill.
Bruce, you mentioned KD, and not only the 5 points he had late, but I think there was another stretch where he had a few baskets pretty much back to back to back. Just what does that do to have a guy like that on this team that just very quickly over a string of 2 or 3 possessions can get the offense going like that?
Gives your team a lot of confidence. He also had 3 steals. He just makes a lot happen. And so you got to account for him. And we probably need to go to him more.
All right, Mark Murphy.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you how Wendell's doing, and also 33 rebounds in the second half. How big a deal was that? And how
Rebounding
unusual?
was huge. It kept us in the game. Absolutely kept us in the game. And even those last possessions, Walker gets an offensive rebound and keeps that thing alive. So don't know about Wendell. I was grateful he was able to come back. So obviously he wouldn't have been back. Can't be that serious. But based on his pain and based on his reaction, and I thought knee, I'm like, man, that's it. He could be out.
Coach, we'll finish up with a question.
That might have been the biggest win tonight, that Wendell came out of the training room.
We're going to wrap you up with Trey Wallace.
Hey, Coach. Years ago, you became #1 in the country, then had to go on the road. This was with another basketball team. But were you able to take anything away from that? Talk to your team about that this week, about handling being #1 in the country, going on the road to a different environment. Able to talk to them about that this week?
Yeah, and guys, you got to take my word for this because I've been doing this a long time. If we'd have lost the game tonight, half of you would have written that, Auburn gets ranked #1. They couldn't handle success. They didn't take Missouri seriously. It wasn't Kentucky. That's about the storyline for about half the stories. And that couldn't have been more inaccurate. When we were at Tennessee, we went to play Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt was a ranked team, a kid named Foster, and he played great. And we played pretty well, but they played better. Tonight, we didn't play very well. And we didn't play a great team, but we played a team that's really good at home and a team that scores 72 points at home. And tonight they scored 54. So for us to hold that team down 18 points under their average at home, that tells you that we obviously took them seriously. We obviously played hard to get 25 offensive rebounds. We obviously played. We just didn't play well, and they had a lot to do with it. Not that we weren't ready to play or couldn't handle the ranking.
All right, Coach, appreciate it.
Thanks.